What's going on? Roy Robles here. Now everybody loves burgers, but what kind of a burger buyer are you? I mean, they fill you up the same, but some people like the classic good old burgers, but some people like the extra fixings on it. That's what we feel about these two cars right here, the Chery Tiggo 5X and the Chery Tiggo 2. So why compare these two cars? It's 200,000 pesos. 200,000 pesos usually is the difference between two variants, but in Chery's case, it's two models. So on paper, they actually have more similarities than they are different. They both have 1.5 liter engines. They both can seat 5 people. They have high ride heights. Now, usually the difference between 2 and 5 is pretty significant. Take a look at the other models. But as we're going to find out, they actually battle in just one segment, the subcompact crossover segment. So let me ask you this, how do you want your subcompact crossovers? Do you want it basic, or do you want it with extra fixings on it? Let's find out. Let's talk about dimensions. So first, we want to throw a lot of numbers at you, but numbers are hard. So we tried to line it up the old-fashioned way. And we still can't tell the difference, actually. I guess that's the point of the whole thing. And as you can see all the way in the back right here, the Tiggo 5X has the slight advantage over the Tiggo 2, but not by much. I don't think you should bet the barn over it. So I don't think it should be a significant issue if you factor in the length. But let's head on over inside and see what's up. So for reference, I'm 5'10.5" in height, so the Chery Tiggo 2 offers this much room for me in my natural driving position. So I was able to adjust this using manual controls, and I think I'm doing well right here. At the back passenger seat is actually not bad. Look at the driver's seat. It's set up to my own driving position, and I can still fit myself with my knees barely scraping in the back of the seat. And the amenities are actually good. Look at these seats. They actually leather. I mean, what other compact crossover has that? And it has cloth inserts, so you won't be sliding around that easy. I think it fares well with the 5X, so we're going to take a look at that later on. So let's check out the trunk. Now, as you can see, it's quite large. In fact, the other day, with the tonneau cover on, I was able to fit in an LPG tank, 4 5-gallon slim jugs of water, my own laundry, and a few bags of groceries. So it's pretty much, pandemic panic proof. Whatever you can put inside here, shouldn't be any problem. You know what? While we're here, let's check out the other car, Tiggo 5X. As you can see, it's also quite spacious. In fact, you can't tell the difference between this car and the other car. In fact, we just made a quick measurement of how deep this goes inside. It's just about 1 inch. Again, that 1 inch can make a difference, but not by much. Let's look at more of this car later on. Now we talk about the rear passenger seat. I sat there for a bit, and it's pretty much the same as in the Tiggo 2. Not much different when it comes to leg room, but the seats, they're actually a different quality of leather. So it feels much better, it feels different, but space-wise, it's just the same. Now comes to my favorite part to any other kind of vehicle, it's the engine. Under the hood of the Chery Tiggo 2, you got a 1.5 liter single overhead cam engine that makes a little over 10 horsepower and 10 newton meters of torque less than its bigger brother, the 5X. But on the road, that shouldn't be much of a difference. So overall, it's a pretty small engine that you got right here, but it should be enough to pull this vehicle on the road. Looking under the hood of the Chery Tiggo 5X, you'd see quite a difference with its smaller brother right there, slightly smaller brother. Now, instead of having an SOHC engine, it has a DOHC design, but still the same 1.5 liters of displacement. It has a more modern design where it has the headers in the back and the intake manifold up front, which kind of mimics more performance vehicles of its more Japanese brethren, if you don't mind me saying that. It makes you wonder, with this kind of engine design, why doesn't it make much more power than its Chery Tiggo 2 brother? Probably has something to do with the transmission, of which we'll be discussing later on. So we come to the first major difference between these two cars. While the Chery Tiggo 2 has the more traditional 4-speed automatic transmission and is available with a 5-speed manual transmission, the Chery Tiggo 5X comes with a more modern, more advanced CVT. What this does is that this gives you a more smoother transition between gears and, more importantly, gives you better fuel consumption in the city. While the Chery Tiggo 2 can reach around 7 to 8 kilometers per liter in the city, the 5X reaches up to 10 to 11 kilometers per liter, which gives you more bang for your buck whenever you have to fuel at the pump. Now, design-wise, between these two vehicles, the Chery Tiggo 2 and the Chery Tiggo 5X, to be honest, I'm really finding a hard time to tell them apart, probably because Chery is one of the few brands that release multiple vehicles in the same segment. I mean, it definitely helps out a lot for the consumer to distinguish between two models, especially when it comes to a particular brand when they're in different segments. But in this case, there's multiple cars in the same segment. I especially like the grille on the Chery Tiggo 5X more than on the Chery Tiggo 2 because it has a more 3D effect to it compared to the more traditional honeycomb grille on the Chery Tiggo 2. I hope this becomes more of a trend with their design language when it comes to Chery's future models. Now, the Chery Tiggo 5X side profile actually is quite similar to the Chery Tiggo 2's, especially when it comes to those black plastic moldings on the side. They're quite similar. What I think that really pops in the Chery Tiggo 2 is that two-tone look right there. It actually gives it a quite sporty aesthetic, just being quite popular with the subcompact crossover segment. Another thing that's different between these two cars is that the Chery Tiggo 2 has 16-inch wheels, while the Chery Tiggo 5X goes up a notch with 17s. Now, we talked about the front grille, the side panels, the mags, even the windows. But let's talk about this rear end of the Chery Tiggo 2 and the 5X. Now, is this becoming a design language for Chery, this large chrome strip at the back? Well, it's pretty similar when it comes to these one and this one, but the difference is on the 5X, it extends right over and right through what I call these crab claw tail lamps. But one thing that's gotten me really curious is that why is it on the Chery Tiggo 2, the badge is integrated into the chrome strip, but here they had to place it right below it. Did they run out of glue or something? I don't know. Tell me more in the comment section below. Probably you know the answer to this. See how strong and muscular and edgy these lines are at the back hatch of the Chery Tiggo 5X. While the rear hatch of the Chery Tiggo 2 is actually more streamlined. It's more, it's curvier and probably is easier to detail when it comes time to clean up the vehicle compared to the edgier Chery Tiggo 5X. Now that we touched on the exterior, the engine, space, dimensions of the Chery Tiggo 2 and the 5X, let's talk about how it drives and the amenities inside the vehicle. So for the Chery Tiggo 2, it's pretty standard, it's pretty sparse. Like I said, it's an entry-level subcompact crossover, so you really can't be, choosy with what you get, but you do get a lot. For example, you get this pretty cool, kind of asymmetrical gauge cluster right here. Definitely looks interesting, looks different. It's shot in a black background with white panels and red dial, so it's hashtag sporty. So you also have an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system right there that does not have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but you do get a mirror link system where you get to mirror your phone's screen onto the car's screen, so and access the touchscreen as well. So it actually works quite well that way. It's pretty responsive. It's such a shame that it doesn't have the simplicity of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay though, but that's fine. Another thing that I like about the Chery Tiggo 2 are the simple yet pretty functional dials that control your manual air conditioning system. So you don't have any of that automatic climate control on this baby. You get to control the temperature manually, just like the old days. Another thing that I found really cool about the Chery Tiggo 2 is the inclusion of a USB port. So back then, like 5 or 10 years ago, you'd have to visit a specialty shop to have that retrofitted or installed into your vehicle. But this time, the Chery Tiggo 2 has a USB port for your media files and your charging needs, so that's pretty sweet. So on the steering wheel, you do have a bunch of control buttons right there. It's pretty legible, but it does take some time for you to get used to where those buttons are located and what those buttons do. For example, you do have the different modes here to select your sound settings, your volume button, your indicator buttons right there to control the center control system in between the dash control panel. You also have buttons here to control your cruise control and your speed limiter. You also have this really cute horn button right here that gives you this really distinct sound. Alright, that was quite a bump. One thing that I really find interesting and quite amusing is that the power windows are actually automatic when you press it down. So when the windows go down, they automatically, do that. But they're not automatic up. So what's the deal with that? I mean, I think I think it should be both, right? At least on the driver's side. But I guess you get what you get. One more thing with entry-level vehicles, especially this compact crossover, is that you don't seem to have a center console. I mean, most cars these days, even cheaper sedans, have that center console, have that center glove box for you to put all your stuff in it. But this one, it's definitely missing. So that's definitely going to be a problem with longer drives. If you want to rest your arm right there during cruising, tough luck for you. So that says it for the Chery Tiggo 2. Now we're going to move on to the Chery Tiggo 5X. Now, as you can see, the features in the interior is pretty sparse, but although you have hard touch plastics on the dashboard and on the door, you do have this interesting accent right here that kind of mimics carbon fiber. Right, we're just doing some backup camera work, and you can see the guidelines changing as you steer the steering wheel, and gives you an approximation of where you are heading. Plus those backup sensors are going to hit in just about now, tell you when you're getting a little bit too close for comfort. Alright, so now we've seen everything that the Chery Tiggo 2 can offer. Let's head over to the 5X and see how much your 200,000 pesos are definitely going to get you. Let's see what those extra fixins are for your money. So as we were entering the Tiggo 5X, it started to rain, so as we wait for things to settle down, let's look at all the add-ons that are different from the Chery Tiggo 2s. So first things first is that it has keyless entry, so you no need to click on anything, and you don't have to put the key into the ignition cylinder because there isn't any. You got the engine start stuff button right there. So as soon as you hit that, you find your perfect seating position by using these electronic seat controls. It's pretty fun, actually very easy to use. Now, one more thing that you're never going to miss is the lack of a handbrake. So you got electronic brake right there, and just need to make sure that your windows are properly folded out because it has power folding mirrors. So for the displays, as you can see the interior right here, it's certainly worlds apart from the Chery Tiggo 2. So you still get the same 8-inch touchscreen, but this time its interface is different. This one has Apple CarPlay, but curiously no Android Auto. And you can actually see the gauge cluster, it's also digital. So instead of having those traditional gauge clusters for the speedometer and the tachometer, this one's fully digital. You can actually change the theme of the display right there. You can change the color of your screen, and it gives you all your different information that you need, from your media files to the different information about your car, like the trip meter, the fuel consumption meter. And one thing that's really cool is that this actually has a tire pressure monitor system. So what that does is that gives you peace of mind knowing that you're not running on a flat tire. Well, if you ever did get into a flat tire, you'd know right away because your tire pressure monitoring system is working 24/7 as you drive. So it looks like the rain has stopped finally, thank you. And we come to the most interesting thing about the Chery Tiggo 5X. No, it's not the light clusters right here, but this button. This is for the sunroof. Check it out. Oh yeah. So you can go all party mode in this car, no problems. You know how many cars under 1 million pesos has a sunroof in the Philippines? We'll let you know after the video, so stay tuned. Right, driving around in the Chery Tiggo 5X in the rain or chance, it's definitely something that you can compare to the Chery Tiggo 2 in a good way. Oh my goodness. So compared to the more dated 4-speed automatic and the SOHC design of the Chery Tiggo 2, the Chery Tiggo 5X with its DOHC 1.5 liter engine and CVT transmission definitely gives you the feeling that you can't describe by just giving it a number. I mean, sure, 10 horsepower or 10 horsepower, but the way that this thing drives, definitely know that it's different. So is the Chery Tiggo 5X faster, significantly faster than the Chery Tiggo 2? Maybe, but not by much, but one thing's for sure, it's more responsive. Sometimes numbers just isn't enough to describe a vehicle's power. It's how you put those numbers down. Sure, you can have the same horsepowers, say 105, 115 horsepowers, but thanks to the transmission, you can definitely put those numbers down as easily and as more responsive as you want. So there you have it, folks. We reviewed both the Chery Tiggo 5X and the Chery Tiggo 2. So what do we think? Is the 200,000 peso premium on the Chery Tiggo 5X worth it? I mean, when it comes to the engine performance, when it comes to the dimensions and the space inside, like we said, those things are very incremental and wouldn't really matter in the real life situations. But if you add that with everything that the Tiggo 5X has to offer with the interior package, just the leather seats, the sunroof, the automatic brake hold, and everything else, I think it can offer a compelling package that I think you should be able to consider over the Chery Tiggo 2. Of course, if you're under a tight budget, go ahead with the Chery Tiggo 2, but if you can push for that extra 200,000 pesos, you're really looking at something right here. So there you have it, folks. 2 subcompact crossovers for under 1 million pesos. What do you think? Do you agree with our decision to go with the Tiggo 5X? Let us know in the comment section below. And while you're at it, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Once again, you got Roy Robles from Zigwheels. Thanks for watching. See you next time.